All right. So in this video, we're going to talk about the system. We're going to break this down into several different parts that I think you guys are going to really get a lot of value out of. And hopefully this will help you to understand how to start generating leads for your business. Now, most people, pretty much anybody that's in a consulting position, a role where you actually have to deal with the client, you have to do a presentation. Most people are typically going to be on the phone with them, making that consult, making that sale, or you're going to be in person. For example, a real estate agent, a realtor, that sort of thing. So knowing that the majority of the people that are watching this are probably in some sort of a role where you're going to have to speak to somebody, our goal is to book an appointment, have the client or potential client schedule a consultation, schedule an audit, book a free strategy session. Ultimately, we want, and so they go, see, I've got a couple of different ways you can title this, but we're looking to try to give somebody the opportunity to book an appointment with us. And we may market that as a strategy session, right? Hey, let's strategize your game plan for doing X, Y, and Z. Let's audit. If you're in a business where you're looking to help somebody make something better, for example, if you're a coach or you're a consultant and you're working on somebody's business and you're trying to make it better, you might do an audit, right? Schedule a consultation, right? That could be if the client wants to buy insurance from you, well, maybe they need a consultation so that they know the best solutions for them. Or an appointment in the case of a realtor, they can book an appointment with you. That's the end goal. So what we're going to do is we're going to go backwards and really break down this process. Ultimately, we want a system. A system is what's going to allow you to generate these leads. It's going to allow you to generate these leads in a systematic way to where they're constantly flowing in. There's never a dull day where you don't have any appointments. How many of you guys have gotten to a day where there just were no appointments, right? Nobody to speak to. So what we want to do is we want to create a system. Now, how do you get somebody to book an appointment with you or schedule a strategy session, an audit, a consultation? Well, typically we need an application process. And so we might call this an application funnel, a way that you can take somebody that's never met you before, and then they have the opportunity at the end to book a call with you, a time with you, book on your calendar. So typically that's going to happen through an application. And so the application, really simple. There's a lot of different tools you can use to create an application. Woofu.com is one of them. It's just a really simple way that you can create an application. It has some questions, right? An application is as simple as having some questions that the applicant can answer. It gives you more information about who is scheduling with you, what needs they have, what problems they've run into, what challenges they're dealing with, and also what they're looking to achieve, right? We kind of want to know where is this person at? Where are they at right now in their journey? If, for example, if they're interested in buying a property, right, then we might want to know, okay, where are they at in the process? Are they working with somebody else? Are they brand new? Is this the very first home they're going to be buying? If it's somebody in insurance, we maybe want to know how much research have they done? What are they looking to get insurance on? So that's your application. That's what it's for. It's to help you really get a better understanding of who you're on the phone with so you can really support them, right? So how do we go from here, knowing that we need to get an application, and then the application is going to get somebody on the phone? Well, the only way that somebody's going to actually fill out an application, right? Think about if you just have somebody randomly ask you to fill out an application. You're not going to do that, right? Because there's no reason. So it's the reason that we want to fill out an application is what gives you the confidence to actually say, oh, yeah, this is maybe something that I want to look into. So think about it from your customer's perspective. Why do you want me to fill out this application? So this is where we start warming up the prospect. So in any situation where you're going to have somebody booking an application, they're filling it out, and an opportunity to be on the phone with you, you got to give them an explanation why. Why is it that you want me to fill out this application? If I'm your customer, if I'm your client or potential client, why do you want me to fill out an application, right? So typically you would do that in a video. You would typically do it in a video. You might even do it just in a simple sales letter, just explaining, hey, are you interested in saving, and we'll talk about more of the offer here in a little bit. I just want to go into the system right now. But your offer is what's going to entice that person to want to put in that application, right? So the pre-sale page is just that. It's warming up your audience, warming them up to the idea of actually saying, sure, I'll put in an application. Sure, I'd like to get on the phone with you, right? So that's the pre-sale page. Very simple. It's typically just one page with a little bit of copy on it, maybe a video, and then it gives them the ability to go over to your application. Now, some people, they put the video on the application page. You'll see this a lot where, there'll be a video up at the top and just some questions down below, and they can submit it from just this one page. And sometimes that does a little bit better. So it really doesn't matter how you want to do it, but typically you always want to pre-frame why they're putting in the application, right? So now, moving to the next step. What is the best way to start this whole process? Okay, I want you to put yourself in your client's shoes for a minute. I want you to really think like your ideal customer. They have no idea who you are. They have no idea what makes you different, what makes you unique, why they should work with you, right? And so what has to happen is we have to start that relationship somehow. And the best way, if you look at some of the biggest companies in the world, they typically offer you something for free. They offer you a very simple offer, or maybe an ethical bribe, if you will, right? And they offer you something for free in exchange for your contact information. And that could be a PDF, that could be a video series, that could be an ebook. Now, let's say that let's say I'm your ideal client, right? And let's say you're in the real estate space, so you're a realtor and you want to sell me a property, or you want to get me into a property. So if I'm your ideal customer, and maybe it's my very first time buying a home, so you might want to offer me a check sheet on what to be looking for when buying my first home. What to be thinking about, what to be focused on, what questions to ask. You might want to make it easier for me that when I actually do go into looking at a property, that I know what I'm doing, right? And for me, that gives me a lot of comfort that, wow, this person's really helping me out a lot. They're providing a free checklist of things to be focused on, and what I should be asking, what questions I should be asking my agent. And so maybe you give that to me for free and entice me to, to put in my email address. And from there, guess what happens? Now I see you as an expert. Now I see you as an authority figure. And you've just ethically, built that relationship with me. It's kind of like giving cookies, giving cookies out, or giving a little free sample. It's like, hey, we all love free samples, right? You go into a Costco. If you've ever been to a Costco and you're like walking around the, back at the back of the Costco, and you get up close, and every so often you're going to run across a table, and what do you typically see on that table at Costco? It's a tray of food and somebody handing out samples. We love the samples, and it's a little taste. It's just a little taste of what that dish might be like. And what happens after you taste that dish? You typically see it right behind them, and they say, well, here, you can get a bigger portion size, for just $10.99, and you can take it home with you. So the landing page works the same way. It's a sample of what's to come. It's a sample of who you are. It's a taste of what it would be like to work with you. That's the landing page's job. It's to entice them to go further into the process with you, right? We've got to warm up our prospects. We've got to warm them up in a way. And the reason why we do this, guys, so that you understand, if you're new to building a business, if you're new, maybe you've been building a business for years and you've just never done this. A lot of people, students that I work with, I've got thousands of students, in other companies and things like that. One of the things that we always see is that so many people they just use a website, a standard website. And so there's a big issue with that. Why a landing page and not just a website? A landing page is specific. It's an offer, an opportunity. It is a very clear, this is what you're getting. This is what I'd like to give you in exchange for your email address. So a landing page serves a couple of purposes. Number one, a landing page allows you to start building a follow-up list, right? An email list, as we might call it. Because an email list, and I'll get into this more here, but ultimately we want to be able to continually follow up with these people. A lot of people don't buy on the first go. I mean, imagine you've probably been in opportunities where you didn't want to buy the very first shot at something. And so what do you do if you don't have that person's contact information, right? Many of us, it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I think there's a statistic, it's like the average number of exposure someone needs to actually make a decision is like 15 to 18 times. So many people, they make a decision over about an 8-week period. So what has to happen, guys, is that we have to acknowledge that we need to build a follow-up list. We need to build a way that we can follow up with people. As business owners, we want to start building that relationship and always being top of mind. So one of the reasons for a landing page is it allows you to build that follow-up list. It allows you to get people onto an email list where you can mail them out an offer, an opportunity, stay top of mind. It's going to allow you to build authority with them. It allows you to build a relationship. And that relationship is ultimately what drives the sale. We only do business with people we know, like, and trust. And so if you've built up that trust with them over a period of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 7, 8 days, 2 months, right? That's what's going to allow that person to make that decision that, hey, I want to work with them. They've given me all this value. They're constantly in my news feed. They're constantly in my emails. They obviously know what they're doing. They're super nice. I really like their personality, and they're always consistently following up with me. I want to do business with them. They gave me stuff for free, and so that's what's going to allow people to make that decision. So that's the purpose of a landing page. That is the purpose for an email list. And actually, I went into it here. Another thing that an email list allows you to do is send people in different directions. So from your email list, you can send them back to the original application page. Now, I'm going to jump backwards here. This application page, what happens if they don't fill out the application? Some people, what happens, and I do this because this is something that we use in our business, is people will fill out that application halfway and then they get distracted. And then, maybe their child comes home and that kid had a bad day, and so dad has to walk away from the computer. Maybe mom is in the middle of an appointment and she just doesn't have the time to finish the application. Well, that doesn't mean that they're not interested. That simply means that they were too busy and didn't have an opportunity to fully finish the application to book a call. So the email list allows you to remind them and send them back to that original site, to that original page. Another thing it allows you to do is remind them about it reminds them about the opportunity. It also allows you to send them to your social media and build credibility on your social media platforms. Now, again, this is just building that relationship. If they see you on Facebook, if they see you on YouTube, if they've actually seen a video of you, how much more likely are they to want to work with you versus somebody else? It's because they're literally seeing you. It's going to be like working with a celebrity. And a lot of times that's what people will say is like, wow, I've been following this person for 2 months, or I've been following them on YouTube and watching their YouTube videos. So it just gives you the ability to really build a ton of credibility. And very few people in the grand scheme of things do this. And so if you do this, it will make you stand out so much more than everybody else. And the last thing, and this is incredibly important, and folks, this is the reason why I actually got into internet marketing in the first place, was email allows you to reach a ton of people at one time. Back in the early days of my career, I was knocking doors. I was a door-to-door sales guy. I was selling alarm systems. I've raised money for fire departments. I've sold everything you could think of, solar, alarms, bread, all kinds of weird things. And, I remember looking down a neighborhood street, and it was early in the day, and it was freezing cold. It had been snowing that day. And all this white snow on the ground, and I'm all bundled up, and I just did not want to be there. And I'm looking at all these houses, and I'm like, golly, I don't even know that people are going to be home. I'm going to be knocking all day long, and I don't even know if they're going to be home. And so it was the moment where I started looking down that street, and I said, what if I could knock all of these doors at one time? What if I could knock them all at one time and see if they were home or even interested in one moment, right? And so that's what email allows you to do, is it allows you to reach a ton of people at one time and find out who's interested and who's ready to take action right then and there. So that's why we build an email list. So this is the lead generation system. And it's not complicated. It's actually really, really simple. There's a couple of tools that you'll need, and I'll go over that in a following video. But this is the system to getting people onto the phone. And ultimately, you're going to have traffic coming from your Facebook page, your Instagram page, maybe some YouTube videos, your website, LinkedIn. You got obviously a lot of these traffic sources, and we'll talk about that in another video. But ultimately, I want you just to really pay close attention to this system, because when you have this, my friends, you have an asset. You have a real business. A real business has systems in place. And it's because of this. The most successful entrepreneurs, they don't just trade time for money. Let's be honest with ourselves for a minute. Like, the most successful entrepreneurs, they don't trade time for money. They build systems that work for them, that work on their behalf. And so what we want to do is create systems that work when we're not there, that are generating a result when we're not in the room. They want systems that are giving the presentation. When they send out an email to 10,000 people, there's several hundred that may buy that day, right? What if you could see opportunities for sales coming in? What if you could see leads coming in every single day and you didn't have to be there? Is that not the definition of freedom, right? So we want to start building a system, and a system that allows us to generate leads and allows us to convert those leads into applicants. Now, what's really cool about this is, guess what? Do you have to always be the one on the phone? No. You could have an assistant be on the phone. Do you have to be the one answering text messages? No. You can have an assistant do that. Heck, today you can have AI do that. So, the concept here is that you have systems in place, systems that are reliable, they're measurable, they're sustainable, and that is a real business, right? One that you can start generating leads and applicants, and again, in some cases it may be a sale, and if you're selling a product that's not requiring a person-to-person. So this is, if you had a product for sale, this might be a sales page, and you can simply get a sale where they can check out right here instead of putting in an application. That might be a sales page in another business model. But for right now, I think the majority of the people that we have are in the services business. You'd have an application. And so remember, you'll have traffic. We'll talk about that in a future video. But ultimately, this is the system. So the goal is to bring in leads, to generate leads, and to build an email list, and then a process that we get to warm up our audience to booking an appointment with you. Okay, that's where we're going to go with this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to close this one out, and I will see you on the next one.